What's shaking, guys? My name is Luke Dancy, and it is Wednesday. It's our live show day. We are here each and every Wednesday, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, to bring you news, updates, giveaways, and today, a very special Q&A with Mr. Menny Lindenfeld. We're going to be chatting all about his brand new effect called Occultatum. Yes, he had to school me on how to say that before this. Occultatum isn't just one thing. It's a full, it runs the range. It's got close-up, you got stage, you got mentalism. This is great for the close-up guys. This is just something really cool that I can't wait for Menny to tell you more about. But up first, I do want to show you the trailer. If you haven't seen this yet, so you can get a better idea what it's all about. And then we'll have Menny Lindenfeld himself here live with you to answer your questions about it or any of the other great releases he's put out over the years. I'm excited to have him here. So here comes the trailer for Occultatum.
Hey guys, Menny Lindenfeld here, and I'm super excited to bring you one of my most closely guarded underground secrets in mentalism. Occultatum is a psychological system that has been my secret weapon for over a decade. Imagine this: a participant hides a personal object, for example her ring, in one of many boxes. She has a real free choice to hide the object. She can freely mix the object as much as she wants to. You can be blindfolded or even out of the room during this process. And when you come back, you genuinely do not know where the object hides. And yet, without the use of electronics or magnets, and without asking the spectator any questions, you will be able to guess where the object hides using the Occultatum psychological system. You can apply the system for close-up, stage, or fully impromptu using everyday objects. The method is bulletproof and works with a 100% accuracy every time. Occultatum is your secret mentalism weapon that will make you feel like a real psychic every time you'll demonstrate it. Do you have a personal object, like a ring or something that I can use? Yes, please. Can you place the ring right here? And in a moment, I'm going to turn my head around. And I want you to place the ring in any box. Then mix the boxes and then place one here and one here. And I'm going to turn my head and you can start. And whenever you're ready, let me know. Okay?
Yes.
All right. Just think of your ring the entire time. I think I know where the ring is. Take it out. Let's do this one more time. I'm going to turn my head again. Take the ring, put it in any box like before. You can mix them as much as you want. I'm not looking.
I'm ready.
Okay. Right there. We have a few beer caps here. Mark any one of them and then mix them up.
Shut up. How did you know? I mixed them up. You didn't even see me mix them.
I want you to hide the coin in any box you want, but you do this only after I turn my head.
Yeah. That's it.
Take it out.
Awesome, bro.
I put my ring in the box and it was 8 boxes and somehow it just know where is my ring. I don't know how it did that. It was amazing. I'm in shock.
I'm ready.
And here we go, my friends. We are back now with Mr. Menny Lindenfeld. As you can see, he is joined now live with me to chat all about his brand new release called Occultatum. Menny, thank you for joining us, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
We are excited. We got to do this with Oxbender, got to do this with TRU, and now your latest masterpiece, Occultatum. Tell the guys all about it. This isn't just for close-up guys, mentalists. This is stage. This does everything. What is Occultatum, though? That's what everyone wants to know.
Well, Occultatum is basically a system that you can do a wide range of things with it. It all started about a little more than a decade ago in 2005. This is when I came up with the idea. Back then, I used to do this with only 2 boxes, and I was using pure psychology for performing this. And this is also in the tutorial that comes with Occultatum. And besides that, I'm also teaching many other things. So for example, I'm also teaching how to do this with 3 boxes or more, basically with any number of boxes. And this is also something that I've been teaching at a table lecture that I did about a year ago for Murphy's. And this is also included inside the Occultatum package, but see, there's so much more. So I have an advanced version of this one, which is something that I use today when I perform Occultatum, and this is something that you can see is actually on the trailer. And besides that, I'm also teaching how to do this without any boxes at all. So you can do this fully impromptu when you are performing, let's say you go out to a pub or a restaurant. You can do this with disposable coffee cups, with beer caps. You can even do this blindfolded when you don't see anything. You just let somebody sign a beer cap, and you can always find the signed beer cap with the system. And this is some of the things that are also included inside the package. Besides that, I'm also teaching how to use your own business cards for this. So at the end of the routine, when you hand out the cards, it's something that they will remember for a long time. And this is also included in the package. And then I also share an idea that how to use Occultatum on stage. This is something that I actually do with my own performance sometimes, where I use a real basketball and let somebody hide basketball inside of one of the little cardboard boxes that the basketball can fit in. And I'm completely blindfolded when I perform this. And I'm also teaching this inside the video. And then I have so many things in there. Basically, it's a 2-hour video packed with ideas, packed with methods, variations, and so many other things. And on top of this, you also get with the package, which is right here, this is the Occultatum package. Inside, you get 8 boxes that look like this. These are thin metal boxes that are specially custom made for this for the Occultatum. But again, you don't have to use these to perform Occultatum. You can use your own branded mints that you can buy anywhere, or you can do this without any boxes at all. The great thing about these boxes is that we have designed these boxes in a few things that I don't want to talk about it here, but that makes your life even easier, especially when you begin with this. It's going to be easier with you to use this. But again, you don't have to use this. But it's in the package. You get 8 boxes like this one, and this will last you for a lifetime, basically. And because I always like when I put out something, when I release something, I always like that the customer can immediately go out and perform this immediately when he gets the box. Because I don't like it when you buy something and then you have to run around and buy many different things and different items that you need just to get started with something that you are eager to do right away when you get it in the mail. You know how it is when you are a magician and you want you want to learn it now, and you don't want to go out now, spend a few days just to find whatever you need. So this is the way I always do. I always bring everything you need directly in the box, and
love it. So
everything is included.
We've got questions already starting to pour in. As you've been talking about this, people are always very excited when they see your name attached to a product. Myself included.
Thank you.
It's always fun to see what you're up to over there. This is a good first question here. This one comes in from YouTube. This is from Pradesh Magician. He said, what inspired you for the effect? So we know some of the background, the history, but was this created out of necessity? Was this a principle that you decided to explore and just see what more you could do with it because you found it interesting? Or, as a mentalist and close-up magician, you do a lot of different things. So what was it that kind of led you down the path with Occultatum?
Well, actually, the reason I wanted to come up with this before I had the idea how to do this was, as a mentalist, I'm a purist. And when I perform, I like to everything look, even if I don't really do pure mentalism as a mentalist, but for the audience, I want everything to look like it. So when I perform and when I come up with methods, I always wanted to be very pure. And so I decided that, okay, this is the effect that I want to accomplish. Now let's think how to do this. And back in 2005, I was actually traveling in South America. I was in Brazil, Argentina, and I was driving over 100 hours on the bus in Argentina alone. So I had 100 hours basically doing nothing, just in the bus. So this is when I came up with the system, sitting in the bus with a notepad and a pen, and I was starting to develop this. And and then later on, I came up with the idea, and this is how it started in 2005. And since that day, every few months, I always come back to this idea, and I always try to improve it and improve it more. And then from 2 boxes, it started. In 2 boxes, it grew up to more boxes, and then with any number of boxes. And what's great about the system, it works 100%. Really, it works every single time, which is really great, because the way the system works is, I don't want to reveal how it works, but the way it works, especially people who are familiar a bit about this, who saw this at the table, will understand that how the core of the idea works. But with this core idea, I actually work. For example, when I do this with 2 boxes, the system is a little different than when doing it with any number of boxes. And the funny thing is actually that once I came up with the idea of any number of boxes, the system actually became much easier to actually execute than with 2 boxes. So both of them are basically inside the tutorial. And when I do the routine as an old routine, I always start with the 2 boxes, which is a different system. And then I do the rest of the boxes, which is actually an easier system. It looks harder, but it's actually easier.
Okay, all right. Speaking of things like that, someone's asking over on Facebook, James Horwood wants to know, hey, Menny, this looks fantastic. Well done. What is the skill level? So we're talking about the different ways to do it, the different methods and things, but when it comes to skill level, who is this good for? If someone's new to this, can they do it? Do they need to be experienced? Who can do this, I guess?
It's what?
Who can do this? What's the skill level on this?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So basically the skill level is actually easy. Super easy to do as long as you do it with 3 boxes or more. And when you want to do the 2 boxes, you actually need some more experience. You need to work on it a little more. It's not hard to do, but it's just because the two boxes system is actually 100% pure psychology, while the 3 boxes and more is a combination of trickery and psychology. It's like a combination of both of them. Mm-hmm. So because of that, actually easier for you to do. So for those of you who are new to mentalism, this is a really great way to start with the 3 boxes and more. Actually, in the video, the way I've constructed the tutorial is actually I start with the 3 boxes or more. Then I do the advanced version, which is also very easy to do. And only after you learn all this, I go back to the 2 boxes system, because now that you know already everything how to do this, it's going to be a little easier for you to do the two boxes system. And then in the end, and what I'm doing, I'm also showing in the video how to put the 2 together into a routine, and I'm also showing a live performance of how I perform this, so people can follow the exact things that I do and say during a performance.
I love that. When people sometimes when they see a trailer, especially that's one thing I like about the trailers. You show yourself out there doing this live performances. You're doing this for real people. You're showing that this isn't just an idea. This is something that you actually use and that you are able to perform. Someone wants to know, and this is a good question, is Occultatum 100% impromptu? And this comes from Tyler Scott. I want to make it clear, and we talked a little bit about this before, and I think you touched on a little bit. You don't have to just use the boxes that this comes with. That's just a starting point. That's one of your favorite methods to use it for. But there are ways to do this on the spot, but I'll step back from that and let you lead that. But is it 100% impromptu? I guess is the question that someone's asking.
The answer is yes. It's 100% impromptu, and I'm teaching in the video. Like I said, I don't know if you just joined us now, but in the video I'm teaching a variation how to do this with the disposable cups that you find in the coffee shop. You can do this inside with beer caps. That it's also in the tutorial. Then I have a second version with beer caps where you can be completely blindfolded. You don't see anything, and you still are able to perform this with beer caps. Then I'm showing how to do this with beer coasters, with sugar bags, with your own business cards, and on stage with a real basketball. And there is even one variation where I'm a little bit talking about another variation where sometimes I do this with a beer, with a wine bottle, which, when you buy wine bottles, especially the more expensive one, they come in like a nice decorative box. Mm-hmm. So you have a few boxes, empty boxes, and you let somebody hide the wine bottle, inside one of the boxes. So you can really do so many things. And once you know this system, you can actually apply this to so many other things. So, for example, one thing that I'm actually mentioning in the video is that you can actually do this up to human size if you want. Let's say you have a few coffins on stage, if you do big illusions, and you just let a spectator hide in one of the coffins, and somebody else is just mixing the coffins, and you still find the person, So now you're finding a person, you don't find an object, So it's like it's really funny. You can actually do this with so many things,
That's cool, and that's thank you for going over the impromptu-ness of it, because Tyler said that's amazing, and he said he needs it now. So your answer definitely helped him to understand if this is for him or not. So it is appreciated for you going over that stuff again.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, man, thank you. Someone else had a nice comment about you that I want to make sure that you get to hear, because I think it's deserved here. Raven Blackstar said, I had a feeling this guy would be more prolific than some after I saw TRU. So I guess that was their first, exposure to Menny Lindenfeld. So they had a feeling you were going to be back with more goodness. And I'm not surprised, but it is good to see you back out again with another new release. So, yeah. Rob Dodge is asking something. Yes, Rob, it can be used with soda caps too. It doesn't just have to be the beer caps, right?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be. I mean, once you learn how to do this one way, you can basically apply this same system. If you do it with beer caps, you can do it with anything, basically.
Okay, just want to clarify, just to make sure we get all the answers out of the way, because I think it is important for people to know. Let's get to the instructional part. You told me this, I couldn't believe it, because sometimes people skimp out on the instructions, that come with stuff. Can you give people an idea of, first of all, how long it is, and then I know you've gone over a lot of details about how long it is, and also I think you included some bonus content too, but how in-depth do you go with the instructions? Because that is important when it comes to learning things these days,
it's actually very in-depth. It's a 2-hour video, 119 minutes to be exact.
Wow.
And there I'm teaching all the things I told you about, and each part, by the way, the way I made it, it's like each part, you can watch it individually and learn it individually. So basically, let's say you skip one part and then you want to learn another thing and then come back to another part. You can do this because I'm going into very in-depth detail with each variation and each method that I'm teaching there. And besides, like you mentioned, I'm also giving out, once you download the tutorial, it also comes with another bonus video, which is a 10-minute bonus where I'm teaching something I call the cheat method, which is something that I've been using for Occultatum when I used to do the entire routine before I had the advanced version of this, which is also in the video, basically, and in the main video. So I'm also teaching that so people can apply this to many other things as well,
Love it. Yeah, I mean, that's one thing I've realized with your products is you don't leave any stone unturned. Like, you go into so much detail, you give every bit of information. The only thing you're missing is the new stuff that you might come up with it later on. But
that's what sometimes happens, when I come out with something and all of a sudden I have another eureka idea and I say, damn it, I just released it. I needed to put it in there.
That's funny. It's really funny. Let me see. I think there was another question that popped up on Facebook as well. Yeah, this is a good question. I'm curious about this one too. Adam Wayne Evans wants to know, can this be used as a Russian roulette style using water and acid? So if you wanted to apply this to something outside of just finding a hidden object, could you apply this to something like a Russian roulette, whether it's acid or something else? Could you use this for that too?
Yeah, actually, I think yes. I never thought about it, and actually, thank you for the idea, because now I'm going to use it. I hope you don't mind, because I actually like the idea of because I always did it as a personal thing. Somebody hides a personal object like a ring or a necklace or something like that. And with the Russian roulette, it's actually bringing the effect into like a more dangerous thing, which is something that I always love. I do the spike effect in my shows.
Yeah, someone was asking if you could do it with Smash and Stab too. So yeah, there you go. Yeah.
You know what? That's actually something that I was thinking of, and I immediately dropped the idea because spike effect is something really dangerous.
Yeah.
And I probably don't even recommend most people to do this in the regular method. So don't do it with Occultatum. And if you need proof, I don't know if you can see it. Right here, I have a scar that goes from side to side. This is how once I screwed up with the spike effect and the knife went through my hands. So don't do dangerous stuff. That's my message out there.
Dude, at least you weren't one of those idiots on YouTube that you see that took a spectator's hand and pushed that down. Did you see that one?
Yeah. And, the funny thing is, I used to do this with a spectator for a long time, for some reason, I decided it's not a good idea to do this. And a month later, I smashed my hand. So I'm so happy that I stopped doing it just a little bit before, because then I would be that fool who did it on YouTube.
Oh man, yeah, you would be that guy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny. This is something else you and I talked about a little bit earlier, and it is something I want to get out of the way too. Nevin Sanchez on Facebook wants to know, how is this different from your at the table lecture? Now, we did talk earlier off camera that you did teach basically something, the very infant stages of this. So we talked about some of the backstory, but this has been a long time coming. The Occultatum project isn't just something you thought to put out. This is, I think you said you've been working on this since 2005. Is that right?
2005. That's when it started, and just when I decided to release it, it's basically months on months of super hard work, 16 hours a day, every single day, to make it happen. Because like I said, like you said, I like to leave. I don't like to leave anything unturned. I like to put every single detail that I can put in there, and I like to think of the ATT lecture as a preview of what you get in Occultatum, because it is in there as well. In the Occultatum project, you also get the same thing that I was teaching at the table, but it's only one little part of something so much bigger. You have the 2 boxes method, which is pure psychology and advanced method, 5 or 6 different impromptu versions, stage versions, and so many other things,
Yep. And that is something that I want to make sure that we let people know that, just because you have that doesn't mean that you know what's going on here. That is, this has come so far, and the concept is so much more grand. It's so much bigger what you can do with it now. So, someone is asking about, is this available as a download? Right now, the instructions are on the download, but you need to purchase it and have it shipped to you, because you also receive the tins that you've had.
Yeah, I'm going to show it again to the camera right here. This is the box. You get a nice little box. Inside, you get 8 tins that look like this, and these are custom made for Occultatum. And what I did also with these boxes, basically the reason I put these boxes in was so that the customer, once he gets it, he doesn't have to run around to buy more stuff to go around and get stuff that he needs for this effect. You can immediately do this out of the box. And while at it, I already designed these boxes. These boxes are designed in a way that it makes the performance a little easier for you to actually perform Occultatum. But again, you don't need those boxes, but they are there for you, so you can start right away. And it's easier to do this with those boxes than with regular boxes.
Yep, very good. Yep, that is also one of the, as Menny said, there's a lot of times these days when people buy stuff and then you get it and you go, oh, I have to go to the store and I have to buy a bunch of stuff. He wanted to make sure that you got everything that you need here to start getting on your way with Occultatum right away. I have fun saying that. Up until today, I was like, is it Occultatum? I'm like, I have to ask Menny how to say that, so I'm glad I know.
Yeah, it's Occultatum it's in Latin, and it means hidden in English.
Got it.
And I wanted to find I wanted to call it hidden, and then I made my research, and I think I found something with a very similar name, hidden. I don't know if it was just hidden or something else. I think that Andy Neumann came up with a few years ago. So I decided I have to find another interesting word that nobody can pronounce.
You definitely. You threw me for a loop when you did TRU too, so I'm like, wait, is this true? Why would it be true? But then true, TRU.
Yeah, it's like true, like THROU, so on. Yeah. True something, and just with 3 letters, like as short as possible,
I also want to remind you guys that are watching, that we are here. We'll probably be on for about the next 10 or 15 minutes. We'll go a little over 30 minutes. If you guys have any questions about Occultatum of your own, if you're on the fence about it, or also if you have any questions about any of his other stuff. We have talked to Menny in the past about his Ox Bender, which is the world's first one-handed coin bender, which is just phenomenal. I've seen people like Patrick Kuhn using it on TV, so you know it's good. And I'm also taking a peek here through a lot of the other questions. But if you do have more, guys, feel free to post those down. I'm keeping an eye on YouTube and on Facebook right now. Were there any other big points that you wanted to make about this, because I'm looking at the questions too, but were there any other big points you want to make sure people know about when it comes to this, or just any other backstories on this, anything like that about Occultatum?
Well, the only thing that I can think of now is to credit my good friend Ran Ping, who was consulting me on this project, and together, he helped me to improve some of the ideas. It's always good to have another mentalist mind looking and reviewing your ideas before you put it out. So thank you, Ran, if you're watching this. Thank you again for helping me out.
Ron is another great guy. We've got some really good people in the industry, and you're definitely on that list. Ron is obviously on that list.
Thank you.
Yeah, Adam is saying, I suppose you could take to a grand scale, getting a spectator to hide an object like Banachek, and you could find the object. Could this be done with this method? So I guess what he's saying is, I mean, you were talking earlier, you could do this with a person. You could reveal a person. Yeah. So basically, if you want to do this on a bigger scale, yes, obviously is the answer. You could do this on a bigger scale.
Yeah, I mean, the scale is really limitless. I mean,
right.
The bigger you can think, the bigger you can do this. Because once you know the method, it's going to work with anything, basically.
Someone else is saying they really liked your Sealed, which is another one of your releases out there.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's one thing I really like about your work is you never know what you're going to get. I mean, yes, your background is in mentalism. You're more probably well known for mentalism because that's
as a performer, I'm only a mentalist basically, and as a creator, I like to create whatever pops into my mind, and then it becomes an obsession for a few months, sometimes more, sometimes years, and then I never give up until I have the perfect solution for something that I'm looking for.
Love it. And that's another thing I like to remind guys when I do these type of things is that Menny is someone that actually does perform, as he just said. He does a lot of performing as a mentalist. But in general, the things he's releasing to you aren't just things he's trying to just sell to you. These are things he actually uses. These are things that are actually, things that get some work. And that's why it takes sometimes so long to explain some of it on his DVDs because he's got so much to share with you. But that only comes from performing it and being out there and doing it. There is no other way for that, that to happen. So that's important. I want to ask you something else quickly because I also have people that ask a lot about mentalism, and you are a mentalist by trade. Do you have any beginner tips? And this is something I want to start asking people more and more when they come on here. Occultatum is a mentalist thing. You could use it easily in closeup. But as a mentalist, for someone out there that's a beginner and wants to know, I want to get into mentalism, well, why don't we have one of the best share some advice on how they could get started? Maybe whether it's resources or just advice in general about being a mentalist. Can you share something there?
Yeah, I think the biggest tip that I can share with you guys, if you are starting in mentalism, and maybe you're not going to like it so much, but if you want to really become a good mentalist, become a good magician first. It's going to take time. Because as a magician, you are learning about showmanship, about performance, how to control your audience, how to actually use psychology on your audience as a magician. And sometimes as a magician, some tricks don't go well sometimes on stage. It happens, right? So you learn how to overcome this, and all these things are the foundation of mentalism. I think that if you become a mentalist right away in the beginning, I know it's very exciting, like everybody wants to become a mentalist. But I started as a magician for many years. I was doing kid shows and then adult shows, and only later I started to become a mentalist because this is something that I actually was fascinated about since I was a kid when I saw Uri Geller performing in the 80s and 90s. And for me, he was God, like he was a superhero and everything. But I started as a magician, and I think it's very important because once you become a good magician, you are going to be a great mentalist. Once you start with mentalism, you could become a great mentalist, but actually the journey is going to become much longer, and the process is going to become much longer because as a mentalist, you learn these things the hard way. And as a magician, you learn that like the way a magician needs to learn it. And then you can apply everything as a mentalist later on,
Absolutely. Wow. So you knew that coming in. People weren't going to like that answer, but there you go.
Yeah, I know. But because what happens now is a trend. Everybody wants to become a mentalist because there are so many great mentalists out there. But there are no shortcuts. I mean, a great actor needs to go to acting school first, And by the way, if you're speaking about acting school, this is another tip that I can give you guys. It doesn't matter if you want to be a magician or a mentalist. Go out and go to acting school. It doesn't have to be a school. It can be a private teacher. That's what I did when at one point I took a director who is also a private acting teacher And I was going there for 2 years every single week to teach me how to speak, how to be on stage, how to look on stage. You know, one of the problems that I see that many newcomers have, that you're on stage, you are a little nervous, and what happens is that they move a lot on stage because, you know, they don't stay in one spot. And it's very important when you talk that you are always at one spot on stage, that people can focus on what you speak and not get their eyes like this all the time, you know. So these are very important foundations that you need to go through before you become a great mentalist or a magician.
You know, it's funny, the whole rocking thing. Don't you see that all the time? It's crazy. People, the swaying back and forth. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Who are your inspirations in mentalism other than Uri Geller? And isn't it cool, though, to see his quote pop up on the screen next to your face? I'm going to throw that back up here. And that's got to be a really cool feeling. I mean, you've got his quote there. I know I condensed a little bit, but saying he has no idea how you did what you did and that you blew his mind. That's got to be pretty freaking sweet to have someone like Uri Geller say that about your work, man. I mean, that's awesome.
It's like a circle that closed down at the end. You know, as a kid, I always wanted to meet him, and all of a sudden, I became his friend, and we meet sometimes, and I show him some ideas and stuff like this. So it's really amazing, actually. You know,
that's cool.
I think that Uri Geller it's really like, if you want to become a good mentalist, I think you should actually watch. Go out on YouTube. You can find it on YouTube. Many of his performances from the 70s. I mean, because he was claiming that he has supernatural powers, the way he did mentalism was completely different from any other mentalist out there, because he wasn't working, like, he wasn't in the circle of mentalists back then. Nowadays he's more with magicians and mentalists, but back then he wasn't there because he couldn't allow himself, because his name was as a psychic, you know. And you can actually learn so much about how he looks, the gaze that he puts into spoons. In fact, I have a funny story that once I already was a mentalist. I was bending spoons for many years already, and one day I was watching Uri in one of his old videos where he's holding a spoon and it's bending right in front of me, and I couldn't figure out how this could be. And then only later I found out it's nothing. It's just the way he talks and his charisma that actually sells the effect to you. And this was a great lesson, you know, because it's all about how you look as a mentalist, how you act as a mentalist, and this could sell things that you don't even do anything, and people would still believe that you do something, you know.
That's really funny. He wasn't doing anything. It was just
it's all about how you look as a mentalist. Yeah, it was amazing. It was like the best spoon sell things that you don't even do anything. The spoon never bent, and it looked like it bends because he told me that he was telling on TV it's bending, and it was so you know, like he believed it so much that cool. Everybody else did believe it, you know.
That's really cool. Quick question about Blackpool. Will you be going to Blackpool this year? It's actually this month, so will you be there?
Yeah, actually, unfortunately not. I cannot be in Blackpool this year, but I hope to be in FISM in Korea, which is something I'm looking forward with too, but I'm not sure about Blackpool. Probably not. 99.9% probably not, you know.
Yeah, join the club. I won't be there either, but I have been, and it's amazing. So yeah.
It's huge. I mean, if you guys didn't go there, you should definitely go. I mean, it is the best convention you could even dream of, you know. I think it's even better than FISM, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I haven't been to a FISM, but from the ones I've been to over the years I've been doing this stuff, yeah, it's definitely, the scale of it will just, you'll be in awe of how big, and the dealer room will just drive people crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, once you go in that dealer room, you really want to become a millionaire instantly, because you need to buy everything.
Yeah,
there's so much stuff. I mean, hundreds of tables, thousands of ideas, and new stuff coming out. It's crazy.
And I'm going to pop this back up on the screen. And this will be there. Occultatum will be there. I know the dealers will have it out there on their tables, and that's going to be really cool. So you guys, it is officially now available. You know, it was on pre-order for a little while, but this is now available from all those dealers out there all over the world. So if you are interested in picking it up, Blackpool's a great place if you're going to be there. I'm sure they'll have them. Another question about Occultatum, and we don't have to get too much into specifics here, but Orange Arts has asked us a couple times. I want to make sure I don't miss this question over on YouTube. Do I know where the object is the moment when I come into the room? Because you do mention that you can do this without even having to be in the room, but from a direct standpoint here, do you know when you come back into the room?
Actually, it's a good question, and the answer is you don't.
Okay.
That's what's really cool about this system. You really don't know where the object is until the very end when you find it. So that's the way this works. I cannot reveal how the system works, but this is how it works, that you don't know anything until the last moment when you know. And that's the cool thing about it, you know?
Yes, absolutely. And I appreciate you answering that honestly too. But it is part of the fun with this one is, and that's the thing. It's not like it's that important of a thing because you do get the information. You just don't have it right at that moment. So, big deal.
Yeah.
So we went over the skill level. We went over the instructional part, which again is on a download link. So you receive the boxes, but the instructional is all done on download, which is important. I want to go over the product page real quick. Make sure that there's there's so many bullet points with this. It's crazy. Some of the things you can do this with. I want to go over these as well. Make sure we didn't miss any earlier. You can do this with disposable coffee cups, as you mentioned. You can do it with sugar, sugar packets. Is that right?
Right.
You can do it, of course, beer caps, as we mentioned earlier, soda caps as well. You get 100% impromptu with or without the boxes. Again, guys, there's no electronics. There's no magnets here. I did see someone asking earlier about if this uses magnets, use some PK stuff. None of that's going on here. God, this is almost like real magic. Let's see.
Yeah. You could be out of the room and you can make it when you do it. But when you go back to the room, it's better that you wear some clothes,
Well said. All right. That's funny. So yeah, I mean, a lot of good selling points with this. And we don't, there's so many ways to do different things, but isn't it amazing when you can add a new, I'm trying to think of the right word here, a new skill, to your repertoire of stuff, that now you have something else that you could do at a moment's notice, because this is something you could totally do impromptu, that now if someone asks you to do something, you don't have to be that guy that says, oh, I don't have my stuff with me. And I think as a magician or as a mentalist, it's always important to have these type of things available to you, because it is a skill set that should carry over to whenever you're approached. And you never know, that could turn into a gig or something. You know what I mean? I mean,
exactly.
that better than anybody else.
Right.
And I do want to make sure, too, that people know you can also, again, do this with a business card where someone writes their name on it and you're able to discern where the signed business card is, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm teaching the full routine the way I do this also in the tutorial.
So the reason I bring that up is because this has also got a great built-in way to hand out your business card now, because you can have the person, the client, write their name on the card, do the thing, and they're left holding the card that you just divined, and you tell them to keep it. And so now what?
Exactly. And now every time they turn it around and they see their own signature on there, they will remember the effect that they just saw, and that's why they could keep the card and maybe book you later because of that.
I love it. And it just, again, shows just how much thought went into something like this. That's another great way to use it. So a lot of great things to do with it. I'm going to take a quick look around on the socials one more time to see if there's any other questions. Someone is asking, Mark Bernard over on YouTube, does it work every time? Does Occultatum work every time?
I cannot hear it for some reason.
Oh, sorry, it might have broken up there. He wants to know, does Occultatum work every time?
Yeah, 100%, every single time.
Jordan wants to know, so is there a gimmick? Jordan's getting a little specific here, but is there a gimmick involved with Occultatum?
Well, it's not a gimmick per se, like you don't have magnets or anything of a sort. You do use, like I said before, you have two systems in there. One of them is the two boxes system, which is pure psychology. Really, it's 100% pure, and it also works 100%. And it's actually harder to do this than the three boxes or more method. And the three boxes or more method is actually a combination of psychology and trickery. So it's like a combination of these two, but it's not like a gimmick that you carry around or anything of its sort. And you can really do this anywhere because, like I said, you can do this without the boxes. So you can do this impromptu without anything. So basically, you don't carry anything with you. And the brain, once you know the secret, you can do this anywhere.
All right, very good. And I know that some of these things that we're talking about may be regurgitating what we talked a little bit about earlier, but there is so much goodness about this that I want to make sure that we don't miss any of those details. So someone wants to know, does this use any type of body language? So I don't think that it does, but I think you can make people believe.
There's two-system method. And part of the psychology is also your body language. This is something that I can actually tell you, but this is only the two boxes system. The three boxes system is completely different, and it's completely easier, much easier than actually the two boxes. So it started with the two boxes, and then it actually evolved into any number of boxes, and it became easier and easier to do with the new advanced methods that I'm teaching there.
Got it. Okay, I wasn't familiar with that. That's why. Okay. And then another good question: could you do this as a which hand routine? Which is an interesting question. If you wanted to do this where someone puts a coin in a hand or something, are you able to do it just with two hands?
In two hands, no. You cannot do this two hands. You have to use some sort of containers or somewhere that somebody can sign, like a business card or a beer cap or a disposable cup or something like that.
Okay. Rob Dodge says he's got a good tagline for this. He says, "Impromptu mentalism on steroids." So I think he likes it.
Yeah, that's a good line.
I like that one too. Just want to make sure. It's the usual thing, Luke. It's only limited by your imagination. You know, that is thrown around a lot these days, but this really is something that, I mean, there's a lot of potential with this, and there's definitely a lot of different ways to use it, which I think is important. And just to follow up on the question from earlier, other than Uri, were there any other specific people that inspired you as a mentalist? Because people are always looking at other people to kind of study their work or their style or things like that. Were there other people that inspired you from a mentalism or mentalist?
Probably later on only. I mean, when I started, I actually didn't start the regular way where I didn't go to a magic school. I didn't know any magicians when I started. I was just fascinated about this thing because I had a friend of my father who was a magician. He wasn't a mentalist, he was a magician. And he showed me many things as a kid. And that was in the back of my head. And I actually started to take this seriously only when I was about 19. I wasn't doing any magic before. And so my real inspiration was Uri Geller because he's the only mentalist I knew back then. You know, I didn't know any others. But later on, of course, there's the Paul Daniels and all the other great magicians that I saw on TV. But a real influence was really Uri Geller. And only later on, of course, then I met many other great, amazing mentalists like Darren Brown. And then when you read, Banachek and Max Maven, you have so many great people out there.
Sweet. Yeah, a lot of greats out there, man. A lot of great guys. Yeah, so people are really digging on this. We got a lot of people giving some nice comments about you and about this as well. So I think we're going to start to wrap this up. You know, we got out a lot of the details. There was a lot to talk about, obviously, because there's so much you could do with it. And also keep in mind, guys, you know, we're I wouldn't say we're stuck on, but we're definitely focusing more on mentalism and the mentalist. This isn't something you just have to be a mentalist to perform. This is great for the close-up worker, something you can use in your work there. There are versions taught for stage 2. A lot of it's just how you put your spin on it, how you present it, and that can change the whole style of it. So, and I'm preaching to the choir here with Menny. He knows that better than anybody else. But a lot of good stuff here. And I'll say it, like I've said before, Menny is one of those guys that when you see his name on something, you should pay attention because he doesn't release a whole lot. He has a lot over the years that he's released collectively, but he doesn't release something like every month. So you know that when he does put his name on something and he decides to release it, that is going to be something that's worth your time, and it's going to be well thought out, which I think is the biggest thing I've taken away from a lot of your work is it's just so much thought that goes into everything you put out. So I commend you on that as a magician and creator. Not a lot of people do that, you know what I mean, these days. So.
Thanks. Thank you.
One last question about Occultatum. Adam Rose wants to know, are the boxes examinable at the end? So if you choose to use the box version, are they examinable at the end of the effect?
I think yes, you could, because like I said, you can do this without boxes or with boxes. And I actually, the way the routine is constructed, nobody ever wants to check the boxes because it has nothing. They don't even go this way because it is a free choice. You can really be out of the room when they hide it. So nobody's going to ever want to check it out. I don't think that if they do check it out, they will find anything. But nobody from all these years, I never even once had somebody said, "Hey, let me see the boxes," because I really give them a free choice to hide the box, hide the ring. And I actually, one of the things that I say during the routine, and it's also in the video, that I always actually mention, you can put the ring in any box you want. You can even put any lid on any box, and you can do this only when I turn my back around. So basically, right at the beginning, I'm eliminating that very question, because it doesn't matter if they can or cannot examine it. I think that once they want to examine, even if they don't really find anything, once they want to examine something, I think that the effect is it's not 100% for you as a performer, because I want them to feel that whatever they did, they saw a miracle. And once you say a miracle, you don't want to examine the miracle. You just in a wow state right now, and that's what I'm trying to accomplish. I want them to be astonished from the effect and what they witnessed now, and not try to figure out how he did it and how and this and that.
Cool, very cool. Do you have time for one last mentalism question? I'd actually like to hear your answer on this too. Do you have another minute?
Yeah, sure. I'm here for you guys.
Cool. This is a good question because they've got the right starting point here, I believe. Trilix Magi on YouTube is saying, recently started into mentalism. Any material recommendations? They do have 13 steps to mentalism now. So the Corinda book, of course, is a lot of people consider it to be the quote unquote Bible.
This is the Bible, exactly. This is something. Oh, sorry. I'm back.
Yeah, there you are. You dropped off for a second, but yeah, you're back. But yeah, we were talking about Corinda's book. That is like the Bible, as you said.
It is the Bible. It is the Bible, yeah. I mean, if you go to church or synagogue or whatever you go, it's better to go with the 13 steps of mentalism with you, because at least you go out and learn something.
That's true, yeah. There you go. But other resources than that.
I actually read this book, so like even I read it the first time so many years ago, and till this day, sometimes I riffle through the book and try to remember things because it's really amazing. I mean, there's so much stuff in there. You should definitely read that if you didn't read it.
It's a classic, but it's not a classic that should be buried by any means necessary.
No.
Other books, though, other resources, if people have that and want to continue to grow. Yeah.
Well, we have Psychological Subtleties by Banachek, 3 books, which are great books. And in those books, it's not only Banachek contributing for the effects. There are so many mentalists that write about the effects in those books, and he just collected the ideas of so many mentalists, and this is something you should definitely read. You have Paramiracles that pops into my mind from Ted Leslie. He's not alive anymore, but you can find some amazing creative ideas in there as well. And of course, Max Maven. You have so many great creations that Max put out all these years, and you should definitely check his stuff out as well. And then, of course, you have other great mentalists like Ron Pink and Andrew Gerard and so many others.
Yeah, dude. There's a lot of great new people and new stuff out there, but I like that we all started this conversation talking about one of the necessary classic resources
exactly
out there.
Right.
Sorry guys, but it is a book.
Yeah, I know some people don't like to read books anymore, but if you don't, go back to read books. I just had a conversation with Max Maven last week, and he actually mentioned this, that there is a research that shows that if you read a book from a book, the information is gonna get implanted in your brain much better and much faster than watching a video or reading something out of a tablet or something. You should read the books. It's not only the smell of the books that are great, it's the words and the information you get, because your imagination works now. Because when you watch a video, what happens is that you see what the performer, or if you see a movie, the director wants you to see. But when you read a book, it's your imagination, the way your brain wants to see it. And this is, I think, much better and much greater,
Yeah, I mean, same way, the problem is these days, not to get on a different tangent, but when you process information, whether it's on your phone or on the computer or on a TV, it's all on a screen and it all just kind of gets blurred. But when you take the time to open up a book,
you're having to break free of that process, and you actually do absorb it better. So I'm all books,
Yeah,
man.
right,
Yeah,
exactly,
100%.
exactly. It's like your surrounding all of a sudden fades out, and you in the book, and I think it's a much better experience. I think.
Yeah. I love to hear that. I think it's a great way to end this too, because that is something that unfortunately a lot of people, they just skip out on. You know, oh, I don't learn good from books. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of those good secrets that are out there are hidden in books, guys. So if you don't want to find them, all right, don't read books. All right. Yeah, that's the way it is. So I want to start to wrap this up by giving you a chance to talk about if people want to keep up with you online. I do this for everybody. The floor is yours here. Promote where people can find you online. If you've got websites, social media, and also if you're going to be appearing in any conventions where they might be able to see you live, things like that. So the floor is yours, of course.
Well, you can always go check me out at paramentalist.com, P-A-R-A mentalist.com.
Mm-hmm.
And there you can find my email if you want to write to me. You can find me on Facebook as well. And one of the conventions that I'm actually really thinking forward to go to this year is Mindvention. So if you are a mentalist or a newcomer in mentalism, go to Mindvention. It's every year in Vegas around November, I think. It's a small convention. All the great guys come there. And if you want to mingle with the real great mentalists, this is the place to do so. And I actually try to go every second year, and I've been there for already 3 times, and now I hope to go there the 4th time. And I always look forward to go again. You know, it's the best convention in my opinion, because it's small, intimate, and the guys are amazing guys. And
yes, and I think that's actually where I met you in person for the first time. Is you were in town for that?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Well, hopefully you make it out this year. I know you said you might be coming out to Vegas next month, so maybe we'll try to get a little mini interview. No pun intended. Mini. Yeah.
Oh, sure. I'd be happy to do this. Many interviews.
So yeah, it might be fun to do something with you. We'll see if you got time. I know you're coming out for work stuff, but we'll see if there's any extra time. And if not, we'll at least try to get together for a drink or something out here in Vegas.
Definitely.
Yeah, cool. Well, Menny, thank you for your time, my friends. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you guys for all your questions, and I hope I gave you the information you need. And if you have any more questions, you're always welcome to write to me. Like I said in my last interview here, I always try to answer everybody. It doesn't always happen right away, but I always write to everybody. Sometimes it takes a week or two to answer everybody, but I always do so.
Sweet. All right. Very cool. Well, I'll catch up with you right after this. I'm going to wrap this up, and then I'll get out of here. So I will catch up with you in a minute. Thank you again, Menny.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
And there you have it, my friends. Quick chat. Actually, that turned into about an hour. I didn't see that coming, but I'm not surprised. Menny has a lot to share, not only on this project, the Occultatum project, but also just in general about mentalism. He's a professional performer. He's out there doing this stuff. So, he's a good guy that has a lot of good resources, or a lot of stuff to share with you as far as, information as a magician, mentalist, and a magic creator too, that drops a lot of good stuff out there. If you haven't checked out his other stuff too, don't forget about the ox spinner. If you're looking to do a coin bin, signed, it's one-handed. Oh, it's great. Check out Patrick Kuhn doing it on TV. It's fantastic. And his rubber band, TRU. It's great stuff, multi-phase routine. And now you're here with Occultatum, which is a great system. Close-up, mentalism, do it on stage. You can do it just as a straight close-up thing. Know where stuff is, divine stuff. You can do it with some of the supplied little tins he gives you, or you could do it totally impromptu with just objects you find at a restaurant, bar, or wherever. It's great stuff, and Menny is one of the great guys, and thanks again to him for joining me to chat with you guys all about this. Can't wait to see what he's got for us next. All right. And I want to say thank you to you guys, too, for all the great questions. A lot of good ones out there. Hope we got to those. If you had something else you think that we should try to answer for, you can always post those comments, at least on Facebook, after this goes up. We try to get in there and keep an eye on the comments there, too. So, and I want to give you guys a quick update, too. I do have the month of February. We are here. Keep an eye out. This Saturday, I'm going to post up a video. We're starting to celebrate our 20 years. Murphy's has been in business for 20 years as of this month. And one of the things we want to do is, starting Saturday, we're going to be giving away 20 different magic items from us to you over the rest of the month of February, all across our socials. So if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you check out our Facebook page, Instagram feed, Twitter. If you're watching on Facebook, you got to go check out the other places too. We're going to be spreading it out, and it's all going to be Murphy's goodness from us. We can't wait to do that with you. So keep an eye out this Saturday. I'll throw up a video telling you about all the details, and it'll be your first chance to win. So don't miss that, all right? Very good. Well, thank you guys. My name is Luke Dancy. I had a blast with you as always. We'll be back again next Wednesday, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, to bring you more Q&A stuff. We got more updates, news, and giveaways to tell you about, so don't miss it. We are excited to do all this for you, and 2018 is off to a bang. We're doing it, and we're going to do it right this year. All right, guys. My name is Luke Dancy, and I will catch you next time. Get out of here. Go away. Bye.